I, 29M, found out about my girlfriend, 31F, of 11 years affair, and I am struggling to cope. My girlfriend have been together for 11 years and have one beautiful child at 7 years old, and she has another child at 15 from a previous relationship. We met when I was 18 and I took on the responsibility of helping to bring up my stepdaughter as my own. Our relationship, like most, has gone through its ups and downs. I was young and had never been in a long-term relationship. I made mistakes, she made many more. However, for the last 5 years I have been an honest, faithful, loving boyfriend. 2 years ago, I decided to be as selfless and loving as I could be to everyone around me. At the beginning of the year I had some things happen in my life which left me in a really dark place, severely depressed. In the beginning she was there for me and she was perfect. She made me a calendar to remind me every day how she felt for me, bought a couple of heartfelt things which helped me through the hardest times. I haven't been myself for 10 months, and I have admittedly withdrawn, but it was in the darkest moments that I decided I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this girl, and I started to plan my proposal. My girlfriend was furloughed for most of the lockdown, but eventually found a new job where she seemed so much happier. At the start of October, I found that my girlfriend was pulling away. She no longer said she loved me, no longer hugged me or kissed me, and I started to have suspicions. I worked on myself and our relationship. She would hide her phone when I was around or quickly exit WhatsApp. However, at the end of October, she started going to the gym. One night her class wasn't for hours after she finished work. Her response was that she would wait outside until the class started. It didn't make sense to me. I called her after work and she sounded like she was in the car. But her response was that she was working late at work and trying to get things finished up before heading to the gym. I find my iPhone on to discover she wasn't where she said she was. She was outside another man's house. I confronted her about this and she lied, saying she was at work, and then switched to saying she was picking up a quick tea before class until I eventually revealed that I knew exactly where she was because of the tracker. She blew up that I invaded her privacy and that I was some freak for tracking her every move, and then eventually came out with the truth that yes, indeed, she was there to meet another man. She had been having an affair with a man at her new job. I asked her to come home to talk about it, but she refused and instead turned her phone off. She had invited him into her car after our conversation, and they drove together to a local park and spent hours together. I went around to his house only to find that they were not there. His father opened the door, and when I explained the situation, his only response was, "Sounds about right." He does this. She drove to her mom's. Afterwards, still texting him with kisses and apologizing that I went around to his house with emojis included. Eventually we spoke, and she showed me what little texts she had not had chance to delete yet. He was laughing that I had almost found out about their affair a couple of days prior, when she thought I was going through her phone. I had not had chance to do this yet. I contacted him and told him how he was hurting a 7-year-old girl, and he laughed at that and could only say I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm a one-man band. We eventually agreed that she would block him from everywhere and discussed her leaving her new job to try and work on us. She opened up about other issues we were having, and one of those was money. She wouldn't ever be open to me about what kind of position she was in money-wise. She had finally been honest and told me that she was $400 overdrawn and another $300 was due to come out. I was a sucker that fell for the fact that she was finally being honest with me and transferred her the $700. A short while later, she blocked me on all outlets and unblocked him. I had asked her to get therapy. She said she couldn't afford it. She used the $700 to book a hotel room with the man she had an affair with that costs the same amount as therapy. She says that the last 11 years have been so unhappy for her and I didn't love her enough or show her enough affection. This isn't true. I'm an affectionate person by nature and showed her love constantly. I have had 10 really dark months, but I was just starting to feel better about myself. She calls me a narcissist, conversations full of views. Refuses 50/50 custody. However, I had my daughter 5/7 nights last week because she wanted to go see this man instead. I leave every conversation feeling like things were my fault, worthless, and that I should have done more this past year. She refused to sit down with the children to explain what is happening because it needed to be done with her so that she can console her children and not feel like she has abandoned them. However, because I've had my child almost every night, that's impossible. It's not fair on her. She's asking questions specifically about what cheating is. I also felt like, why should I have to feel like I've abandoned her? Why should we do it on her terms? I didn't make these choices, she did. To top it all off, Yesterday I found out that the man she has chosen has a problem with drugs to the point that he's not allowed to see his current children, and recently dumped his ex because he got her pregnant and wouldn't abort their baby. Sorry if this is a lot or all over the place. My head is a mess at the moment. There is a lot more, but I think this is long enough. Does anyone have any advice? Story 2. Was I unreasonable to be suspicious of my 37F husband, 39M? I am 37F and my husband is 39M. I have never had any reason to suspect my husband of cheating. We've had some rocky moments, fights, and somewhat dry bedroom spells, but overall, I've always trusted him and his judgment completely. 2 Saturdays ago in the morning, he informed me he was going to meet a business partner in the evening to connect with some of their connections and talk about investments. Fine, he has had things come up with this business partner before on weekends, not a big deal. I know he values that partner a lot, and I don't mind when he needs to do things for them. He was planning to leave around 6:30 p.m.-ish, around 5:30, while preparing our child's dinner. I commented that I thought it was odd they were having a business meeting in the evening on a Saturday. Was this normal for this group? And my husband got very defensive, sarcastically asking if he should question how they schedule their time. I thought that was an unnecessary reaction, but didn't think too much about it. Then, when he returned, not terribly late, maybe 9:30 p.m., he smelled very strongly of body spray. He usually puts on body spray before leaving the house, but he never smells like that when he returns. I commented as soon as he came in that he smelled really strongly, but he brushed it off. I went to do something else and came back to the same area of the house and could smell it from 15 ft away, and commented again how strongly he smelled of body spray. And again he was a little defensive and said it was the same deodorant spray he always wears. I ended up looking in his bag and found that he brought the spray with him, and asked him why and said that was suspicious. He said that he had run out and needed to buy some on the way to the meeting, so he was professional. But he was and continues to be extremely mad that I would snoop in his things. He says that some bells can be unrung, and that I have shown that I think he's that isn't trustworthy. But if it was so innocent, why hadn't he just explained that he sprayed it on in the car because he just bought it because he had run out when I first mentioned how strongly he smelled? He doesn't believe me that putting on body spray/cologne before you go home is a common way that people cover up smells of other partners when they are cheating. I also found other weird things in his bag, not going to go into detail, but as I accepted his explanation for those things, he said the real problem is that I snooped in the first place and don't trust him, that my reasons for distrusting him were too flimsy and I should never have snooped. Was I unreasonable to be suspicious? At it to add, the thing I found was condoms. We don't use them. I know this 100% completely validates that I had a reason to be suspicious, but my husband is so adamant that my reasons were flimsy and the real problem was my snooping. I wanted an opinion just about the snooping. Yes, I realize I'm an idiot for choosing to believe his explanation about why he had condoms despite claiming he was not actually cheating on me. His reason was the people he was meeting asked him to pick some up for them. Story 3. Best friend of 8 years ghosted me. We have been friends since high school and over the years have bonded more to the point we used to share our goals and what we feel and just overall support each other. The past few months his replies had been slower and slower. I made an attempt to hang out and didn't get a reply in 2 days. Then we talked more over text about my plan to hang out, and then I got ghosted. It has been almost 2 months since then, and I really miss him. Maybe I am overly attached, but I wanted someone to talk to about my job and how everything is going, and them also sharing their life. We had really good talks over the years, and when we hung out I really enjoyed it. We're not trying to date each other. I have been thinking about him a lot lately, maybe because I had a dream that we talked about why I got ghosted, which didn't go anywhere. But I was wondering if I should message again to see what's going on. Did I take too long to mention anything? Or did they just decide to kick me out of their life?